what are you doing to get people out to vote Labour?
I think people should look at the record of this Tory administration, really, and decide on that basis. Because they have done some kind of superficial things to do with street cleaning, but if you look at the deeper stuff they're doing, they're outsourcing traffic wardens who are going on strike. Some of the other stuff they've done sort of tantamount to bribes, really. This council was the only council that's ever given cash back, which just sounds tacky, like some sort of dodgy mobile phone supplier. It gave everyone £50 of their own money back in an administrative measure which kind of cost, I think, more than the £50 to actually effect that. I hope... In fact, this morning we had a good session out on the doors, and there were people who'd seen through that and just seen it for what it is, which is a election gimmick or bribe, really.
And they have a lack of any sort of real vision for the borough. They have a very clear sort of strategy for getting themselves re-elected, which is keeping the council tax down and, giving people the £50 cashback bribe, putting quite a bit of emphasis on street cleaning. But on the really big important things that will have a long-term impact on the future of Ealing, they have no idea whatsoever. They're making a complete mess of the regeneration of the town centre, and the plans that they backed that were very unpopular and met a great deal of local opposition have now been rejected quite rightly by the government. But the council, met the rejection of these plans with incredulity, and they've no real idea what the future of Ealing should be and what should go in the town centre. They're just really handing development sites over to developers and saying, what can you come up with that will make you a profit? They're not saying, what should go here? What do the people want? How can we get developers to deliver that? They're asking the developers to say what they want to do. And that's completely the wrong way round. And, there could be a lot of developments that would really improve Ealing and bring new sort of facilities into the centre of the town that we need, but we're not going to get them without a local leadership on the council that puts the emphasis on getting those sort of extra facilities and listens to the people and works for what they want.
Yeah, it just seems to me that Ealing Council at the moment is a huge kind of parking fine collection department and a huge publicity department, because there's this magazine they do called Around Ealing, which is kind of like Pravda or something in trumpeting the council achievements. It seems to be on the doormat every time I look. I think it was quarterly before. It's now, is it monthly or?
It's monthly.
Even
yes.
more often than that. And that's the only thing that they seem to be doing, and I think they deserve kicking out.
One thing I would add to everything that's been said is also with the £50 that's been given back. I remember Julian Bell, who's leader of the opposition, saying that they presented that as a kind of, we've done such good accounting that we can give £50 back to everyone, and we're so wonderful that we're saving money, when the reality is they're closing quite a lot of services within the council, and they're not being honest about what's going on. So they should be saying, well, we're giving you £50, but we're also having to close X, Y and Z to do that. And so I think that's quite disingenuous, and I think the Labour administration would work hard to try and keep those essential services going.
What would you do differently, though?
I think the first thing would be to not try and merge things like with the family unit and education. There's a lot of sort of merging and cutting down going on that I think sounds like a really bad idea. So I think try and keep as much sort of infrastructure in place in terms of who's doing what within the council, and have those departments where they can really focus on particular areas rather than having to look into three different areas that like one person having to deal with three things when really you need sort of an officer to deal with each problem.
Yeah, we just need to protect frontline services, especially things like social services that are really important to a lot of quite vulnerable people. Those are the last sort of things that we should be cutting, but they're often the first thing that Conservative councils cut. If you look at Ealing, if you look at the record of other Conservative councils, precisely because they benefit a comparatively small minority of the population, and they much prefer to save money in those areas and to concentrate on keeping the keeping the council tax down. But we think that those services are really important, and they need to be protected and improved where possible, not cut back.
I mean, I've been to 2 public meetings recently. In fact, all 3 of us candidates went to one called Save Ealing Town Centre. What was it called? Ealing Centre in Crisis or something, where they just showed that they've got no strategic vision for keeping businesses in Ealing. So, kind of the Oxfam in West Ealing has closed down. That's really grim when charity shops close down in your area. The Poundland, can you believe it? Poundland is meant to be the winner of the recession. They open a new branch every week in the UK at the moment. The one in West Ealing closed down. Ealing Broadway as well. Both of them look like ghost towns. I mean, Ealing has weathered recessions before. You know, I've been here since 1972, I know. But, I mean, it's never looked as down at heel as it does now. And then the other meeting I went to not long ago was a protest for Southall Black Sisters to save the grant. Ealing Council's cut the grant to that very important pressure group, which is a sort of national organisation, and it just shows where their priorities are. They don't care about people in places like Southall because they're not Tory voting places. So kind of going to these public meetings is sort of quite heartening to see that, you know, you hear all this stuff that people are not interested in politics. The one we went to last week, there were over 300 people there. I think the people who organised it put out 300 chairs. They needed more than that. You know, there are fiery, passionate people in Ealing. They just need to all go and vote Labour on May the 6th.